Debbie Wasserman Schultz has also come out and made some comments about Bernie Sanders not being clear on the way the Democratic Party works and the rules involving superdelegates. I am really not inclined to believe a word that comes out of that woman's mouth, because she will swear up and down one thing one moment, be disproven, and then, say something completely different, some other point in time. So whatever, the latest thing from her, because there's so many things, right? If we don't have a week with some crazy thing that Bill or Hillary says, then we got something that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is talking about. So Debbie has said in an interview recently, basically that she prefers closed primaries. She believes that to elect, that parties should be allowed to limit who's allowed to vote in their primaries. That seems fair, right? You don't want people just coming into your club and electing, joining up, or people, let's say, you run a club, you run a social gathering group or something. You don't want outsiders just coming in making decisions for what you and your group do. I mean, that makes sense, right? Well, except when your little personal social gathering group, your little drinking pub club, when you're making decisions for all of America, the fact that you want to just cordon it off for you and your little buddies, you and your squad, nah, hun, it don't work that way. Salam Marcos, we have some really good exchanges going back and forth. Definitely check him out on Twitter as well. Check out some of his writing on progressivearmy.com. We were having to go back and forth a little bit earlier about what the pros and cons are. One thing he raised, well, this is kind of good. If you have closed primaries only, the Democrats will be allowed to increase their base. They'll be able to increase their membership rolls, because people will have to become registered Democrats if they're Dem leaning and they want to vote. Okay, that's one way. Personally, I don't think that we need to enact rules or laws that make it easy for Democrats to be in control when they're not willing to put in the work to earn that power, so to speak, right? They're not willing to put in the work to earn that place. I mean, we are struggling. When you look at our state maps, I've said this before, when you look at our state maps, our state houses, our state legislatures are red. What has the DNC done to help stop the hemorrhaging of state level seats? We talk all this stuff about supporting down ballot candidates, blah, blah, blah. We want to close primaries, but you're not doing anything. Okay, fine. A state like Georgia votes red. The last Dem that we voted for in a general presidential election was Bill Clinton's first term in '92. Yes, the term where he posed at Stone Mountain with the prison work camp behind him. In '96, they did not vote for him. Georgia did not go for him. Georgia has not gone blue in a presidential election since then. And Georgia as a state has gone blue very few times in other major elections. Georgia's a red state. People trying to fool you about the purple. I mean, there are initiatives going on, but we need to do a lot of housekeeping, a lot of internal work. And I say we, as a left-leaning person, that 98% of the time, 99% of the time, votes with Democrats. You know what I'm saying? If there were viable other candidates that were going to really work, because I'm more of an issue person, right? I understand the parties want to hold and maintain their power the way they can. I understand that. That's a survival issue for you. But we're talking about real social change and stuff. I'm not going to stand here and be here about you talking about, well, I just think, closed primaries are the way to go. We need people only working for us. That's just not, that's not cool with me. Particularly when you look at in places like Florida, her own jurisdiction, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was maybe 30%. It was some large number of voters were not allowed to vote, because really when she's talking about closed primaries, she's talking about her own primary challenger, right? Because Debbie Wasserman Schultz is being primaried right now by Tim Canova. Shout out to Tim Canova, Florida, Miami, woo-hoo. We talked to Dr. Nkume Sobe previously, brand new Congress. We need people in. We can't allow the Democrats to say, well, we got to vote for Democrats. We got to vote for Democrats. No, we got to vote for people who are about the people. Seriously. And we need to hold those people who are currently in office accountable, because they might not be there next go around. I mean, that's what's real right now. So, earlier today, Debbie Wasserman Schultz closed primaries. The thing I do say to people when everybody's like, well, we need to start our own party, something to consider though, is if everyone leaves the party in droves and we don't change the system of voting that exists, and the parties do get together, because I'm sure on the Republican side, they might be more interested in having closed primaries, considering the way things have gone with Donald Trump, right? I mean, they face their own insurgency to some extent. We don't want to just leave the rules and decision making to the people who do not have our interests at heart. You know, we want to make sure that we have a seat at the table. We want to make sure that we are in a position of power. And people have talked about the burn your bus movement and things like that as leveraging our vote, our power. We need to make sure that we're focusing on that, right? And not just, oh, I'm done with you. We had to think about what's the long game, right? What's the carry through? What are we doing long term? Because that is how we really start creating change. Not just by I quit you, I'm gonna go do this over here and do my own thing. Like, that's good too. We do need to be prepared and ready to do that as well. And I'm not saying, oh, we need to go save the Democratic Party. I'm not saying that either. What I'm saying is we need to be fluid enough in our responses. We need to be fluid enough in our actions that we can do what needs to be done. Because we can't leave it to the likes of Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Patrick Murphy and all these other knuckleheads running around out there from Congress to make these decisions. They want closed primaries because they don't want you to vote. They don't want independents to vote in primaries, even though they need independents come general elections. I saw somebody, and I'm wrapping up with this topic because I got a lot of other stuff I want to talk to you about tonight. You know, got to get in there. And then, you know, I got to do everything I do and make sure you have enough time to switch over to Ben. Because, you know, that's just how we do things over here. You know, I got to make room because my big bro, he about to come on at 9. So, you know, you guys got to get you reared up and ready to go. But I saw a meme the other day, like, if you don't vote, you know, voting is the stupidest thing not voting is the stupidest thing you can do. If you don't vote, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, then you're giving someone with a stupid vote basically more power and all this other stuff. Seriously though, for real, me not voting, this is what's problematic. Democrats complaining about independents or Bernie or Bust or whomever amongst us not voting, right, is the dumbest dang on thing. It's ridiculous. You don't want us to vote in your primaries. You don't want us to have a say in the person or persons who will be leaders, who are the potentials to choose from. You want to handpick the options and then tell us, come on, you got to come get on our team because we got to stop them evil people over there. Huh? What do I look like? I am not a paid merc. You can't just, you know what I'm saying, well, you know, just come get with me now because I got this to do and I'll break you off a little piece of something maybe when I get around to it. It's the most ridiculous thing that I've heard. And people, there are some people who say, like, I might not vote. They might not vote for president, but there are a lot of people who are active, engaged. And you know what? If you look at this, if you look at the choices between the two of them and you say, you know, I can't do this. I can't hold my nose. Like, I can't do this. I'm not going to knock you because that's your choice. That is your right. That's what you're doing for yourself. More respect to you. But I do encourage you, if you want to sit out the presidential election, that is your choice. But do not ignore your local races, yes, your state level races. Do not ignore congressional races. Don't ignore the other levels of politics that most definitely directly affect your lives. Because the same people who complain about how ineffective President Obama had been, the same people who think, you know, this, that, and the other. I mean, how effective are any of the people, you know, going to be who are running for president without Congress, without us demanding certain things happen and occur? Seriously. So, yeah, I didn't really mean to spend that much time on Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the DNC closed primaries, but I really do think that we need to look at, and, you know, Salam, we were going back and forth, and we and what's cool is we all disagree. At the end of the day, it's all love because it's all family here in the Progressive Army, and all our other affiliates. You know, Ben and the team have been doing a great job of reaching out to other folks. So, you know, thank you for the blessings and helping us all grow and stuff. But Salam said that, you know, well, what would be good is if they allowed for same-day registration for independents. Like, basically, if there was some, like, caveat, some carve-out to allow independents to still be involved. And you know what? If we're pushing for something like that, then, okay, I could see the merits of doing something like that. But my point still is the DNC, they need to work for it. They need to make it happen. We don't need to just keep handing people our vote. We have the power because even though they get money and they try to, you know, they still need all of us to show up as actual bodies to vote.